This is the pilot program.
I am the pilot.
I am the captain. All right. So the episode that we want to dive into really is episode 3 of this season of Buried, and we're calling this episode the season no one claps for, right? And basically the concept is to dive into that lonely season, that quiet season when you're basically doing it by yourself, or it feels like you're doing it by yourself. Remember, I think it was Joshua 1:9 that God promises that He will be with you even wherever you go,
Right.
and some of the times we forget that because when things get lonely, they can get really lonely. And I came, just before I started researching for this episode or conceptualizing this episode, there's something that I was looking at was the definition of loneliness. And it says, and I'm going to look back on it because I have it open still. And it says, loneliness is a distressing, subjective state resulting from a perceived gap between desired and actual social connection, distinct from mere solitude. So, solitude can be something you impose upon yourself. That's not only what loneliness is. And it is a profound emotional pain that can affect anyone, even when surrounded by others, and acts as a serious health risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So when we hear people speak of loneliness, sometimes we have to remember that it is subjective, because you can feel lonely even when you're not lonely, one, and you can feel lonely. What can feel lonely to you may not feel lonely to me. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. But yes, the season that no one claps for. um what do you think that means?
So, hi guys, my name is Deron Douglas. I'm also the chief creator here at Infinity Studios, but we'll get into that at another time. The season that no one claps for essentially is that season that, I think this will encapsulate into the theme of this entire season. I think that is that. I think I can just drop the mic right now, because this season is called Buried. It's typically the season that no one claps for, because it's a season where no one is actually seeing what is being done. You understand the work that is being put into you and into what you are doing. So I mean, for me, I have been in seasons like that before. I mean, on the contrary, I'm now in a season that everyone is congratulating me. However, that season did not come. This season did not come. Um, before the season that no one claps for. So essentially, I mean, I think that answers the question.
Yeah. You see, there are lines in the actual episode of this where it says there is no band, there are no cheerleaders, there's no crowd, and a lot of times why it is so hard to go through these seasons is for that same reason. There's no one helping you push along. There is nobody there to just cheer you on. Sometimes that's literally all you need. Sometimes you are aware that you have to go through this. This is a processing time. This is a time that these things have to happen, but you just want to have somebody there who understands, who actually has the experience or the emotional fortitude to understand that you need that kind of support. And So, you know what is funny is that it's not that people don't care, but lives. And
So I think when you speak about someone who has the experience or the emotional fortitude, essentially you're not talking about Job's wife. You're not talking about Job's wife, because Job's wife didn't. I guess she didn't understand. Job himself didn't understand. Let's just put that out there. Um, that he had to go through this, or what he was going through, is not as a result of something that he had done, but it's just the process, the pruning, the the process that God sometimes carry us through in order to bring us over on the other side of being buried. Yes.
and the other side of being buried is resurrection. Let's just call it that. Sunday is coming.
Sounds
It's
like a new season. The next season, it's a precursor to the next season, guys.
Sunday is always coming. Time doesn't stand still. And one of the encouraging things to remember and to be mindful of is that because time doesn't stand still, neither does season. Neither does the situation that you're in, neither does the process that you're going through. I was watching something yesterday or the day before, and the speaker was talking about, things start to move out of the way and things start to shift when a woman is getting ready to deliver. And she knows, even if she's never had a child before, she knows that this is going to be a very painful process. But even the things in her system are starting to move to prepare for her to deliver, because every process comes with shifting and shaking and changing. And what happens in a season that no one claps for is the shifting, and nobody is cheering her on when her organs are moving up and down. Everybody is going to cheer her on when they see her with a baby out the road now and say, oh, what a cute baby, this and that. But nobody sees when she was laying flat on her back in that delivery room and the kind of pain that she has to go through to bring forth this new life. And what happens in this season that no one is clapping for is that kind of process, that kind of change and that kind of delivery process that is so painful and life altering, that but it's so lonely because nobody else can feel that pain for you.
What I think is, you speak about the shifting that happens during that season. I think I guess it's safe to say that it's necessary. It's necessary because without the shifting, then, what is to be birthed doesn't happen. And sometimes the shifting is literally people coming out of your life, moving out of your way in order for you to be able to deliver. So being in that season, as you call it, the season that no one claps for, it is necessary for growth. It is necessary for growth. It is necessary for people to be shifted out of the way. It is necessary for people to abandon you. You understand? It is necessary for people to not understand, because that gives us the perspective that we need so that when we are on the other side of being buried, we know what it is like. We know, and it gives us the experience that we can also, share with somebody else, because we have gone through that. We know what it is like, and we know what is going to happen on the other side because we are there. So it helps, it benefits us when we, and others, when we have gone through it, and then now we're able to share with somebody else that, hey, never mind that others are leaving, never mind that it feels lonely and alone, because this is necessary, because greater is on before.
And it is true, you become a trendsetter after you are buried and come out on the other side.
Jesus. He's the
The
biggest
biggest trendsetter is Jesus. Like, you you can't get bigger than JC. But the fact is that so many of us don't even recognize that it's loneliness is almost like a necessary evil, for a lack of better term. It's necessary for you to be lonely, because what we don't tend to appreciate a lot of times is how little we need to get through some things. And God has a tendency to show us that all the things that we think we require to go through life, we don't need them. They're not needs, they're literally wants. They're things that we have deemed as necessities, and they are not. There are people in our lives that we deem that, okay, if this person isn't there, if I don't have this and this and this person and that person, I can't make it. And I know for one, God has shown me that I do not need a whole lot of things, and I don't need a whole lot of people, and I don't need a whole lot of titles and responsibilities and accolades. God has shown me that I can strip all of this away, like Job, and I tend to call myself Joe Better, because I swear that there are times when I feel like God say, okay, you think you need this, let me show you that you don't need it. And he strips it away.
So, so essentially, while you're speaking about, um, we think at times that we need all of these things, and really and truly, we don't. And there are things that are necessary to get through the season that no one claps for. But let's put it into perspective. Being buried, you know, for instance, a seed is planted in the ground. What does that seed need in order to grow? The nutrients from the soil and water. Majority of the time, that's all it needs, and it grows. You understand? So God will surround us with the right set of people, the right ingredients in order for us to grow. But a lot of times we put in rooting powder, where you just need to be in the right soil. Amen. You just need to be in the right soil in order for you to grow through that season, that necessary season.
And it it also winds down to we or us thinking that we need applause. Not just cheering on, but applause when we go through things, or when we when we achieve something. And sometimes it it's almost like an affirmation we need. And I was talking about this about how, there was this time in my life where when people tried to compliment me, I would say things like, I know, and obviously, and I, to this day, I do not think it was ego. I think it was just the fact that I knew who I was, I know who I am, and I'm very self-aware, that I didn't allow people's affirmation to shift me up or down, left or right, in or out. And I I remember when people's opinion started to affect me one way or the other. And yes, when people's opinion started to matter, and it made me very uncomfortable, because even though it made me happy or pleased to hear that from somebody, but it also made me, again, very self-aware that if this can affect me this way, it can also affect me that way. And if the absence of it may also affect me. And because of that, I became very mindful of, just how much words of affirmation would affect my mood, or just how I perceive people or the relationships that I had with people. And there's nothing wrong with people cheering you on, mind you, there's nothing wrong with people being happy for you or just, saying well done or good job. And sometimes you really do need that. Sometimes that is the ingredient that you need after dragging or feel like you've been dragged through a long season. Sometimes all you need is somebody to remind you that, look, you're on the other side. Wake up. You made it over here. Good job. You never give up when you could have, or a lot of people would have. So don't just throw off affirmations or cheers or applause as
Are
some
thinking that they're negative.
they're negative. They're that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's gonna be a season. There has to be a season when it's going to be lonely, when it's going to be like crickets, dead silence, nobody there to say, hey.
Yeah, good job.
But you're still gonna have to push through. Like, you're still going to have to remember that even when it's you and Christ alone, when it's just you and God and the four corners, the four walls in the room that you're in, you are still surrounded by the best company ever.
I mean, it's funny that you say that, there are gonna be days when it feels like it's only you and Christ alone. But what happened when there are days when you don't feel like Christ is there? Because there are going to be those days too. But I think we, in those times, and this is my take on that, in those times we have to rely not on feelings, you understand, but on the knowledge that Christ is going to be with us in all and through all things, So it's a different layer of being lonely. It's a different layer of feeling, or being alone in a particular season, when you're also not feeling Christ, but you are confident, sometimes, not so confident, but confident nevertheless that He is there even in that time.
And one of the things that we have to figure out how to be buried in is the word. Like, never think you know a scripture too much to not sit with it, to not dig deeper into it. If it's even Psalm 23, you think you can out you Psalm 23 is my favorite scripture in the Bible, and you cannot outlearn, out quote, out apply Psalm 20. If it's the only thing you know in the big book of the Bible, you know so much that you can apply it left, right, and center, because Psalm 23 is so vast and so deep and just full of applications. So, like, in a season of loneliness, in a season where He leads you beside still waters,
He will also restore your soul.
He will also restore your soul. Still waters still waters don't make a sound.
Right.
I can tell you
And
that.
it feels like no one is
And
there.
it feels like there is nobody around. But guess what? If it's still, there is something that comes after that. And there's a reason why you're in still waters also. Just look at that part also. It's not just still waters for still waters sake. There's a purpose for you being led to still waters, and there's a purpose why you're there and what will come next.
Yeah, the restoration.
Right.
It's there. It's right there in the
Right.
scripture.
Right. So yeah, that is my take on being buried, especially in a season that no one is clapping for, no one will clap for, no one has clapped
No
for,
one cares
no
for.
no one wants to be in. Is that there is purpose in that season, and there's a light at the end of that dark lonely tunnel. There is a light. And my encouragement really is, no matter how dark and lonely and scary, because it can feel very scary, no matter how dark, lonely, or scary it may feel. Know that even when you don't see him, he's working. Even when you don't feel him, he's working, because he never stops. Even when we let go of the handle, he is there holding on to us, holding on to the thing, orchestrating things in the background, the foreground, the center stage, everywhere, because God is a master planner, and he plans even for what just seem to pop up for us. He plans for all of our proclivities, all of our shortcomings, all of our fears and cares and scares. So hold on and just know that, trust in the Lord. Lean not to your own understanding in all your ways. No matter, even if you feel like you're not worthy, acknowledge him. Even if you feel like you've messed up and chipped up and you're rolling in dirt, acknowledge him, because in our weakness, he's made strong. In our imperfections, he is always perfect, right? Chin up.
So I guess it's now time for my closing remarks. My encouragement, though, is well, first of all, an observation and a warning that there's no such thing as overnight success. I mean, somebody can seem to be thriving and striving um, out of nowhere. And truth is, there are persons who rise overnight, but it's not success. So don't be fooled. True success doesn't happen overnight. And in order to be successful, then you must go through that season where nobody knows you, where nobody claps for you, nobody sees you, but work is being done on you, work is being done in you, and work is being done around you and through you and for you. So yeah, my encouragement is to just, if you're in that season right now, just keep going, keep pressing, because one day you will see the light. You will burst through that soil and you will start revealing all the work that was done in those lonely seasons. Yeah.
Stay